Welcome to Fake It Till You Make It and Then What? This is a conversation about being a mom, a wife, an author, and my journey through life. Hi, and welcome back. So something that I like thinking about is, what does next look like? What does the process look like? What is something that you can do that can help you grow, that can help you step out of the box that you're in, or whether it's a box that you put yourself in or somebody put you in? How can you think differently about the situation? Something that I often do whenever there are questions about a situation, or if something goes wrong, I try to stop and assess myself first, rather than pointing the fingers at, somebody didn't do X, Y, and Z. I stop and I take a minute to say, what was my part in this? What was my understanding? What did I communicate? What could I do better next time? And then obviously accountability is important. It's, you don't want to take the fall or carry the blame or even protect someone who needs accountability. But you do want to take a minute and look at yourself and say, what decisions did I make? What could I do different? What could I do better? Right? Nice leaders versus psycho leaders. Leadership style. So have you had a leader who was super nice and chill? And have you had a leader who was just scared you? So I'm thinking about because I'm thinking about color guard and dance, I'm thinking about different leadership styles. So, okay, let's say basketball, like Bobby Knight throwing chairs, but the team was winning and they were incredible. What are your thoughts on leaders? Who is going to win the most? Someone who is really scary and pushing it to the edge, but maybe they're also getting the best out of individuals. It's something about fear that just it either pulls greatness out of you or it pushes people away. That's kind of what I see. Either you can do it, you can handle it, or you can't. And then there's either a moment where you can grow and you can elevate, or there's a moment where you're like, I'm not doing this, and you separate. Or there's even a moment of breakdown, I can't handle it, it's too much. Do you know your own capacity? Do you know what you can do? All right. So I tell stories. So I have always loved children's books, especially picture books. I love colorful, beautiful pictures. I used to read books when I was younger. So my mom always had lots of books for us. We had a little mini library. And so I could go to the bookshelf and pick a book, pick an encyclopedia, and read and learn. So I'm so thankful that my mom was like that and had that available to us. And now I still have kind of a mini library. I have lots of books. Some of the books are books from when I was a child, and then some of them are just books that have been acquired. So I had my daughter in 2018, and while I was taking care of her, I just would hear stories like poems and rhyming sentences over and over and over. And I was just like, what am I hearing? What is this? And finally I started writing it down, and I was like, oh, this would make such a cute board book. Maybe I'll make a few board books, print them out for her, and cool, we'll be done. And I just felt like there was more to it. Maybe I should try this publishing thing. And then I just left it alone. And then maybe a year later, one of my close friends posted in social media, I did a thing, and she published an incredible book, beautiful illustrations, so well written. And I was so happy for her, but then it was also like, oh man, like she did it. And, you know, sometimes, I know not you guys, but just talking to myself, when you see someone else do something, you think, oh, they did it, so now I can't do it, or now I shouldn't do it, or I don't want them to think that I'm copying them because they had this really cool idea. And so I just kind of kept quiet. And then eventually I sent her a message and I said, you know, your book is incredible. I think it's amazing. And she shared information with me because I also shared, you know, I was thinking about it, but I don't know. And she was just so supportive. And she said, girl, like, you can do it too. This is how I did it. These are the resources I utilized. And it was a really cool experience. So my question to you, what is something that you've been sitting on? What is something that you want to do? Maybe you've gotten to the point of execution and something is stopping you. Something is making you say, it's not for me. I don't need to do this. Think about it. I'll give you a second. Now I want to share something. I got all that information and I was still sitting on it. I had not published, and spoke with another friend. And I was like, yeah, you know, I was thinking about publishing a book, but you know, all these people are publishing books now. And she was like, no, like, you have to publish your books because what you have to say is unique to you. Like, there is someone out there who needs to hear what you have to say. And I thought, oh my goodness, I had never considered it that way. There's millions of us on this planet. Imagine if only one person could do something, right? Like, that's not like God has gifted us all with so much creativity. There are many of us who are dancers, who are creators, who are speakers, who are producers, who are educators, and we're not limited to one expression of art or dance or music or whatever your thing is. So I just wanted to say that for encouragement. If there's something that you're sitting on that you wish you did when you were 22 and now you're 42, and you really feel like that's something you want to do, pick that notebook up and start writing notes, start doing some research, and see how you can become whatever that dream is that you had. Anyways, so I'm saying all that to segue into 2021. I published my first book, and it was a children's book called 1, 2, 3, 4. And my first cover was like really janky. I didn't know what I was doing. And I updated it maybe 3 times. And recently I heard a quote that it was something like your first run is always like a test run, right? So it doesn't have to be, you can plan and prep and you can do it right the first time, but chances are you might make some mistakes. You might have room for learning. So I definitely had room to learn. And I think probably on my 5th publication, like I think I republished it maybe 5 times. And on the 5th take, I was very proud of this book. All the illustrations I created in Illustrator, and it's self-published. I wrote the words, and it's basically using the numbers 1 through 4 for young children ages 2 to about ages 5. So from when they're recognizing words, numbers, basic objects, and recognizing numbers, this is a great book for those early readers. And then as they get older and they're reading on their own, it's a great book for them to recognize the numbers 1 through 4 and these basic objects. So yes, I started the self-publishing author journey. And then I connected with Crystal Swain Bates, who is an amazing multi-hyphenate. She has a publishing company. She's an author. She's a mentor. She's so many things. But I followed a challenge that she had that she puts on Facebook, and you're able to learn how to write and publish books and journals and children's books in like 30 days, like start to finish. She walks you through it, creates a support group. That was so helpful for me. Like all of the little questions I didn't know that I had got answered. And you just learn as a group, and it was so supportive. And then I also joined another group where you connect with Crystal Swain Bates and a group of ladies who are also on their author journey. And we would meet each week and just get valuable information and resources. And so in total, I think I'm at about book number 12. So one of my more recent books is called What If I Were? And it is a preschool book about imagination. And so this book asks several questions, and it has colorful pictures, and it is for that early reader or the child that you're still reading to. And you ask them a question, and then you give them a moment to respond. So I'm going to read a few pages. What If I Were by Ty Ayers Allen. What if I were a bird? Where would I be? I would be flying up to a tall tree. What if I were a cow? What noise would I do? If I were a cow, I'd go moo, moo, moo. What if I were a cat? What call would I shout? I would shout a meow, meow, meow. What if I were a bee? How would my wings sound? I would say buzz, buzz, buzz while flying around. So that is just a little bit from What If I Were. It is a preschool book about imagination, and it is the first in my Playful Pinwheel series. So there will be several books that are going to talk about different subjects. So it will introduce kids to imagination, but other concepts. So it'll be talking about patience. It'll be talking about love, joy, fear, all of these emotions, and just regular everyday things to help them recognize colors, words, numbers, but also help them recognize, what am I feeling? What do I do when I feel this way? How am I acting? What is a suggested way to act, right? So yeah, that is What If I Were, available on Amazon. And the next book that I'm going to read is called Wonderful Beautiful, Stories for Bold, Bright Girls. And so this is another series. It's called A Sweet Potatoes Book, and it will be a collection of books that are empowering for young kids and girls. And so this first one specifically is for girls. The subtitle is Stories for Bold, Bright Girls. I did have Miss Hazel Rose help me with the subtitle. I was deciding between Lovely Little Ladies and Bold, Bright Girls. And I said, Hazel, what do you think? Should it be Lovely Little Ladies or Bold, Bright Girls? She was like, Bold, Bright Girls. So even at age 5, she was aware of the fact that she is bold and she's intelligent. So this book has 3 stories: Wonderful Beautiful, Girl Boss, and Lead Girl Lead. Wonderful Beautiful is about the differences in you and others, and how beautiful they are. And the second story, which is Girl Boss, it says a girl boss has character, intelligence, courage, and grace. I think right now in our social media generation, it's so easy to get caught up on things that are beautiful. We see women and men and movies and images and posts, and everything is so beautiful and edited and perfect and glossy. And we get caught up on that image of perfection or success. But this challenges that by saying it's important for you to be strong inside. Work on your intelligence, work on your character. Can people trust what you say? Courage. Courage is being afraid, but doing it anyway. And I don't mean doing something that's harmful to you or something that's negative, but you might be nervous about a performance that's coming up. Maybe you're on a dance team and you have a performance and you're nervous. Having courage is going out and performing anyway through that fear. Maybe you're in high school and you need to take an AP class so that you get your ranking up, so you get your GPA up. You might be afraid, but do it anyway. So courage. And then, of course, grace. Grace is, how are you showing up? Are you treating people kind? Are you treating people with respect? Are you creating boundaries? Maybe you don't feel like smiling today, and that's okay. It's also okay for you to set that boundary and say, you know what? I'm not really in the mood for this today. I still love you. I'm still your friend. I'm still a great person, but I need a minute. That's okay to say. With myself, one of the kind of personality traits that I had growing up, I think I was a people pleaser, and I always wanted people to see me happy. I always wanted to make them happy, and whatever I needed was less important. I was always thinking about, what does this person need? What does that person need? How can I help? How can I make them smile? And then they would be lifted up and edified and encouraged, and I would walk away feeling just drained and empty. And I just never knew that what I was doing might not have been the best thing. I just thought, if I'm making someone else happy, that's great. That's what I'm here for. But it's important to learn at an early age, you are here for more than someone else. You have a purpose. And the last story is Lead Girl Lead. Think hard, work smart, and become the best you can be. And so this is a nice little short rhyming story that gives encouragement to young girls, and then also lists different jobs. So a lot of times when you're in elementary school, the teachers ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a dancer. I want to be a basketball player. And those are all cool. They're absolutely fine. But I wanted to put some words in front of young girls so they could think about, is that something that I could do for a living? Like, I could make a life doing that? So, for example, a job in entertainment and arts. You could be an author, a producer, a makeup artist, a musician, a dancer, or an illustrator. And yes, you could absolutely make a living. A job in business might be advertising and sales, marketing, real estate, financial literacy. A job in science, geologist, chemist, archaeology, forensics. So Lead Girl Lead is introducing young girls to thinking about, what do they want to be, outside of being a Disney princess, outside of being mom or dad's favorite, outside of being a sibling. As they grow up, they have to start thinking about how they're going to contribute in society, in their community, right? And so it's never too early to start thinking about different things that are important to you. And then at the end of this book, there are some positive words. Something that I do with my daughter every day is words of affirmation. And I heard this from a few individuals. They do words of affirmation either with themselves or with their kids. You're looking in the mirror and you are declaring, I am good. I am smart. I am beautiful. And you might say it and cringe, like your face is like, I don't feel beautiful. I don't look beautiful. Or you're looking at your hair and maybe it doesn't look like that video that you just watched on YouTube on how to make your curls super shiny, and you've got 2 different curl patterns, or your hair's growing out from a certain bob cut or something, and you're like, I don't like how I look. But you still need to love who you are, even in that transition. And so that's kind of what my podcast is about. Fake it till you make it. Like, you're putting so much energy in trying to look perfect, and then when you get there, well, then what? What are you going to do now that you're there? Well, it's got to start here. It's got to start with loving yourself. You have to know who you are. You have to know that you have value. You're created for a purpose. And these words of affirmation can be really helpful. If you believe that you're amazing, you're incredible, when somebody says something contrary to that, you don't have to accept that. Like, who are they? They don't know who you are. They don't know how amazing you are, but you do because you've been saying it every day. And so there's a section and it gives several words and it explains what these words could mean. So for example, one positive word page says these words: too cool, great, fine, and excellent. These are all adjectives for being special and above average. So you don't just want to use a word and not know what it means. You want to know what it means. So today you might wake up and feel just different or interesting. So the positive words for that day: you rock, awesome, outrageous, and radical. And then finally, there are some pages for journaling and sketching, because again, journaling is great. It's a great way to get your thoughts out on paper. If you are more of a drawer, sketcher, illustrator than a writer, then it's got the free space, but it's also got some little prompts. So my favorite subject in school is, and then you can draw it. An interesting book is, and you can draw a picture of the book, write the label on it. So I'm very proud of this book. I believe this is my 12th book. It is called Wonderful Beautiful: Stories for Bold Bright Girls by Ty Erzalin. It is available print on demand on Amazon. I hope you check it out. And then if you get it, please leave a review on Amazon. Let other people know how it blessed you, how it encouraged you. That's what I have for you today. I wanted to take a little time, introduce a couple of my children's books. Okay, now it is time for What's Your Favorite? So since I spent so much time talking about reading and books and color guard and my journey, I want to know, what was your favorite subject in school? My favorite subject in school, and I didn't realize it until I got older, history. History. Yep. I tried to avoid it. I would get hundreds in history and I was like, who likes history? History's boring. And then when I took art history in college, I realized I absolutely love history. I still love history today. Like, I've been out of school for 20 years. I'm going back to school to finish my degree and keep going as far as I choose. But I love history. I love historical dramas. I love learning about cities. Like, I love learning about the city that I currently live in. I love visiting old Victorian houses and just imagining what was the energy like. Now, some situations I may not want to imagine because it might not have been good or safe for me, but it doesn't stop me from imagining what was it like. There was a house that we visited in the city of McKinney, the Craig Hurd Mansion in the city of McKinney. And when the house was built, the person who built it was a forward thinker, and they were thinking about, in the next 20 years, we might have electricity. At the time that the house was built, they did not have electricity, but they built the house in a way that when electricity was ready to come through, it could be in the house. It could be put in the house. And so history tells you so much about what a person, community, group, generation, it tells you about how people think. And again, I love thinking about how people think. I love observing, like in my introvertedness, I am a people watcher. I'm watching how do people act and react. What makes them happy? What makes them sad? What makes them withhold the truth? What makes them act as if they have power? What makes them act small? What makes them hide? What makes them encouraged? What gives them hope? What makes them withdraw? Like, I think about those kinds of things a lot. That's our time. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening in. Remember, you can follow me on social media, Ty Ayers Allen. If you have a question, if you just want me to read your letter, give you some encouragement, share a story with our listeners, laugh, email me, tyayersallen@gmail.com. Can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you well.